Welcome everybody. We're going to start looking at some more examples of proportional reasoning. So now I've got 3.1, 3 1/10 as a percentage. If I know that 1 is 100%, I want to know what 3.1 or 3 1/10 is as a percentage, because it's a number, it's not a percentage. I want to know what it is as a percentage. So I can say, well, how does 1 become 3.1? It's multiplied by 3 1/10. So I have to do exactly the same on this side. So my percentage is going to be equal to 100 multiplied by 3 1/10. And that's going to give me 310%. So 3.1 as a percentage is 310%. Let's have a look at another example. Sorry about that. 24 as a decimal, 24%, not 24. So the 24 has to go on the percent side. I don't know how to go from 100% to 24%, so I must put the 1 over on this side. So my number is going to be on this side, on the left. And so the first thing I'm going to have to do is go from 100% to 1%. And that is a divide by 100. If I know what 1% is, can I work out what 24% is? Of course I can. I can just multiply by 24. So that's going to have to happen the same on this side because they're in proportion. And then I will do that. So my number is going to equal, now let's follow those arrows backwards. 1, what did I do to it? I divided it by 100 and then I multiplied by 24. So I can say that that's equal to 24 hundredths. What happened then? Oops. So my number equals 24 hundredths, which is 24 hundredths written as a decimal, it's written like that. So that's how I do those sorts of examples. Let's have a look at some more. 1.5% as a decimal. So now I've got 1.5% here, 1.5%. It's on the percentage side. So I'm going to work out what number that is by saying that I know 100% is 1, but I have to start on this side because that's where I know everything. So I have to work out 1 on this side. I have to start at the level of the 100 and the 1 because that's where I know both things. So how does 100% become 1%? Divide by 100. And 1% becomes 1.5% by multiplying by 1.5. We do exactly the same here. Divide by 100 and then multiply by 1.5. So my number equals, let's follow those arrows backwards to where I started. 1, what did I do to it? Divided it by 100 and then I multiplied it by 1.5. So I now have 1.5 on 100, which is the same as 15 thousandths, which is 0.015. That is 15 thousandths. So 1.5% is equal to 15 thousandths. Let's have a look over here. If I know that 1 is 100%, I would like to know what 250% is as a decimal. So this is going to be my number now. So if you know that 100 to 250 is timesing it by 2.5, by all means do that, right? So then you would have 2.5 here. What just happened then? Let me go back. If you don't see that as the scale factor, that's fine. Let's just go back to what we know. I have to start at this level because that's where I know both things, and I know that I have to start on the right hand side because that's where I know those both things. So I'm going to put my 1 here. So now I know 100% to 1% to 250%. So let's put those all in. And the nice thing about double number lines is they tell exactly what you need to do. So my number equals, let's follow those arrows back to the start. I started with 1. What happened to that 1? It got divided by 100 and then got multiplied by 250. And that will give me 250 divided by 100, or 250 hundredths, which is 2.5. So that means that 250% as a decimal is 2.5 or 2.5. Let's have a look at some more examples. The example was $52 increased to $72 as a percentage. So the cost price of a garment may be, cost price might be, so let's put dollars here and percent here. $52. So originally the cost price is $52, but you mark everything up and you put $72 on it. But what is that as a percentage increase? Right, so it might be $20, but what is that as a percentage increase? That's the actual question that's happening here. So if I go from 100, what percentage do I add on to get to that? So let's have a look here. Left or right to start with to find a 1 has to be the left because that's where I know both things. Then I have to say to myself, do I start at the 52 or the 72? I have to start at the 52 because that's where I know both things. So 52 divided by 52 equals 1. So that means I know what $1 is worth. If I know what $1 is worth, can I work out what $72 is worth? Absolutely, by multiplying by 72. So I'll put those two arrows in here, divided by 52 and multiplied by 72. I need to put the arrow on that one. And that will tell me that my percentage equals, let's follow those arrows backwards, 100. What did I do to it? Divided it by 52, and then I multiplied by 72. So the scale factor here is 72 on 52, and that gets you an answer of 138.46%. So this is 138.46. So that means it's a percentage increase of 38%, 38.46% increase to go from $52 to $72. That's multiplicative thinking. If you're an additive thinker, let me scooch back here, right, you would say I've got $52 and I'm going to increase it by $20. What is that as a percentage? Right, so it's a different way of thinking, and it doesn't matter which way you think because you get the same answer, but you just have to decide which way you think. So now I say, okay, left or right to find the 1 has to be the left because that's where I know both values. Do I start at the 52 or do I start at the 20? It has to be the 52 because that's where I know everything. So I'm going to go down from $52 to $1. And when I know what $1 is, can I work out what $20 is? Absolutely. And that will tell me what that is. Oops, daisies. So this is my dollars, this is my percent. So my percent equals, let's follow those arrows backwards, 100. What did I do to it? Divided it by 52, and then I multiplied by 20. And that will give you an answer of 38.46%. It doesn't matter which way you go, but you have to realise that you're either talking about an increase from 52 to 72 or a $20 increase on $52. So it doesn't matter which way you go, but you decide. If I had 62,000 and it was decreased to 48,000, what is that as a percentage? Okay, so it's a number, but what is it as a percentage? So that's the question here, right? So if I started off with $62,000, sorry. Let's try that again. 62,000 has decreased to 48,000. Right, and that's some sort of percentage decrease here, right? So let's have a look. Left or right? Hopefully by now you see that it's the left-hand side because that's where I know both things. Where do I start? At the level of the 62,000 because that's where I know both things. How does $62,000 become $1? Well, it has to be divided by 62,000. How does $1 become 48,000? Well, it's multiplied by 48,000. So I'll do exactly the same over here. And put the last one in. And now I can say, okay, my percentage is, let's have a look, follow those arrows back to where we started. We started with 100. What did I do to it? Divided it by 62,000 and I multiplied by 48,000. And that gives me, get my right colour back. Oops, daisies. Let's have a look. 77.4%. So I know that this is 77.4%. So that means it's a decrease of 22.6%, right? So 0.6 gets me up to 78, 2 gets me up to 80, and then 20 gets me up to 100. So that 22.6% represents the difference or the decrease from 62,000 down to 48,000.